Here's my latest update. We adopted a puppy today. I'll show you the puppy. Puppy's sleeping right now. She's a real cute little puppy. She's exhausted. This has been a very overwhelming experience for her coming to a new house. Try to show her. Here she is. It's a he. I'm often calling her she. I don't know why. We had a female dog I was always calling he. Now we got a male dog and I'm calling him she all the time. Okay, so I just want to let you know I'm not going to leave the United States clothes on my back because I got this dog, and I can't leave clothes on my back now because the dog, as I recall from our dog Heidi, you got to make special arrangements to take a dog to another country. The dog has to get like a certificate from a health place. It's very complicated. So I'm no longer in support of the idea of leaving the United States clothes on my back. I'm going to stay and go through whatever process I need to go through to bring our dog. If I'm going to leave the United States, I'm going to bring our dog. I'm not going to go without the dog. So that takes time. So, leaving on a moment's notice, that's now out. Well, you may have always thought it was out. You may have never supported the idea, but I've wanted to do it, but now I don't because, as I said, we got a dog now, and I got responsibility to take care of that dog, and I'm gonna take care of that dog the way I'm supposed to. So, let me put this on pause. I want to say that my head is getting massively hit by that weapon, and nobody believes that weapon's real, but I am saying 100% that weapon is real and is being used on me right now. Now, here's some more evidence in support of what I'm saying, okay? These folks, you know what they've been doing to harass us lately? As far as I know, and I don't know, but I'm saying I suspect that you can lock and unlock the doors to your house using smart capabilities on your phone. Okay? So I would think that a house like within range of our house, like 50 or 100 feet of our house, to be able to freeze the locks how so that when I put my key in, it doesn't work. I would think that to do that to our locks, and it's been happening to our front door lock and our trailer door. There's nothing wrong with those locks, but the bad guys have been freezing them on me, and I haven't been able to open them. Now, exactly what scientific technology they're using to do that, I wouldn't know. But let's just put it this way. Microwaves are going to heat up substances, right? And when substances are heated, they expand. So if some kind of a microwave stream was directed at a door's lock, a metal door, I would imagine that the internal workings of that lock could be made to expand in such a way that the lock wouldn't turn right and therefore wouldn't open. That's my hazard at a guess of how this might be happening. There's nothing wrong with these locks, but they're freezing them up on me, and I'm there struggling to get in the house and I can't get in, or can't open the trailer door and so on. So there's an example of some kind of a weapon being directed at the locks on our house. And if they can do that to the locks in our house, they can certainly send a stream of whatever they're sending at me to my lungs or my stomach or my head. They can do that. I've suspected they're doing it mainly by satellites, but also by a neighboring house. And I've said, to protect the reputations of the people who live around me, that it's possible that the bad guy could have set up these transmitters on these houses around this house without the people in those houses having any idea that there's a transmitter on their house that's being used to harass me and my wife. It's possible that, you know, I've identified some of these streams of what I would think to be microwaves and ultrasound to be coming like from a certain house, but it's possible that the bad guys set up some kind of a transmitter there without those people even knowing it's there. And it looks like they're guilty when they're not. I gotta say that from the way I've seen this bad guy operate, he loves to do this kind of thing. He loves to get you to make a false assumption and falsely accuse somebody. Get yourself in a gigantic mess that way. He loves this. This creature, let's call it, that's doing to us, doing what it's doing. This is the closest analogy to what Christians call Satan as I've ever seen. This is an absolutely evil entity doing this. Can you imagine? It's making me dizzy right now. I'm not a criminal. I'm not even political. And I've been ostracized. I don't have any friends. I'm not out in the world doing wrong or causing trouble to others, and I'm suffering all the time from these folks and what they're doing to me. What I call a time-lapse murder on me. So that's not diabolical. It's about as diabolical as you can get, isn't it? I'm saying this is real. People don't believe me. I'm saying 100% what I'm saying is true. It will be proved one day. Anyway, as I'm talking, I'm getting dizzier and dizzier. So I'm being listened to and getting wiped out. Let me put this on pause. That's all from me for now. Bye for now. Okay, I'm going to go on with my comments. There's our little puppy. I'm sleeping with the puppy. I brought my Japanese bed here to be next to the puppy. The puppy likes that picture window there in our kitchen. So I slept here overnight on my Japanese bed on the floor next to the puppy. This is the way I am. I've done this kind of thing throughout my life. Okay, with any kind of pet that I might have had. Okay, now, let me go on with my comments. Okay, I'm saying about this weapon that these folks could kill a person with this weapon the way, any of the nuclear powers could drop a nuclear bomb on an enemy, right? But they're not going to drop that bomb for various reasons, because it's a bad idea to go wiping out like 100,000 people in a single moment, right? This is a horrific thing to do, even if you can do it, right? And you do something like that, you've made enemies, and, well, someone might drop one on you, right? And this is horrific. So although these folks have the power to, kill me at any moment with this weapon, they're not doing it for reasons that are similar to why countries that could wipe out 100,000 people in a second are not doing that. Okay, now, why do I say that it's clear that they can kill people with this thing? Well, in my opinion, okay, this head usher at the National Shrine, how do you say this? I was in the Catholic Church for quite a long time, and even I can't say. I always called this place the Shrine. So when I'm making a video that might be seen internationally, I'm trying to get the right name for this place, and I never knew it, so it's a struggle every time. Let me see. The Immaculate Conception, something or other. The Shrine, the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception, something like that, okay? It's in Northeast Washington, just off North Capitol Street, at North Capitol Street and Michigan Avenue, basically, okay? And this Hispanic man was in charge of me as an usher. He may have been in charge of all the ushers, I don't remember. But at any rate, he was trying to convince me to become this certain kind of Knight of Columbus. And I didn't want to, you know. And I just noticed that every time I met up with this guy, you know, he was getting increasingly upset. And in a way, I thought was completely inappropriate. I mean, who am I? I'm a complete nobody. Why should he care whether I become this certain kind of knight or not? But he seemed so upset that I was saying, no, I don't want to do that. I mean, this is nothing to me, but like I said, this guy was showing me that somehow it was of very great importance that he convinced me to do this. And I just didn't see it. In fact, around that time, I was getting ready to drop out of that Knights of Columbus ushering completely because our son had soccer games often when I was being scheduled to usher at the National Shrine. And so it was a big problem in our family because my wife being deaf and a foreigner the way she is by birth and the way where she was raised in Korea, she has a hell of a time navigating, okay, her way around, and she just she didn't want to have to just alone take our son to these far-flung places where he played soccer, and in certain ways she was incapable of it, so she needed me to drive, and so I had to drop out of this ushering thing. I didn't intend to drop out of the Knights of Columbus, but I was only in the Knights of Columbus to usher, so I wasn't going to the meetings or anything, and I had little interest in being in that organization except to usher. I just joined to usher at the National Shrine because I thought it would be a nice thing to do. Now, so at around the time this guy was trying to convince me to be this certain kind of Knight of Columbus, I was also getting ready to stop ushering because our family couldn't do it anymore. We had scheduling problems. And so anyway, this guy, the last time I saw him, he seemed really frantic and upset that I was not going to become this certain kind of knight. And it, like I said, I was thinking, what is this? Why is this? He's so upset that I'm not going to do this. It just seems ridiculous. Well, next thing I know, this guy is dead. And, you know, at that time, I didn't know about any weapon at all. I had no such ideas. And, well, I went to his wake out of respect for him. I have never done this. I've never gone to a stranger's wake like that because he wasn't a friend of mine or anything, but he was a very nice man. I liked him. And so, out of respect for him, I went to his wake and I walked by his coffin, saw him in there, and I asked somebody, how did this guy die? And I was told that he was coming out of his church after going to Mass, and he got a nosebleed. And the nosebleed wouldn't stop. Then he somehow died. Well, a lot of time went by. Weird things happened with the Knights of Columbus, between me and the Knights of Columbus, that were, I'm not going to go into them, but they were totally weird, and they were outrageously weird. So I ended up dropping out of the Knights of Columbus because I said, I don't need this. I'm not going to be in an argument with the Knights of Columbus. They're doing me wrong. So I dropped out, meaning I just stopped going to the meetings and I wasn't going to pay dues, and that was it. And so we're talking a couple of years go by, and I noticed that there is this weapon being used on me. I start to become aware of it because I start to do experiments with sheet metal that are showing me that it's clear some kind of microwaves or other electromagnetic energy is being shined at me to cause me to cough, cause my stomach to get upset, and so on. And I'm doing these experiments, and they're showing me that there is something being beamed at me like that to cause me to get sick. And so then I remember this man. And I say to myself, he could have been killed by that thing. Now, I've noticed that, like, with these folks, the way they'll shine that thing to make it not make, when I switch on a light in my house, it won't light up, or if I switch off a light, it won't go off, this kind of thing. And then the locks on the door being frozen on me, I'm saying these folks appear to be wanting to play God. Like, you're supposed to think that, oh, it's God doing these things, when it's nothing of the kind. These things are scientifically explainable. So the shorthand answer on this is, if God is going to communicate with you as a person, he'll do it in a way where there's no question it is God. It's not going to be scientifically explainable, right? The quick analogy is, a sea does not part for you so you can walk through that sea on dry land. The bottom of the sea, this kind of thing does not happen in science. So if that happens, you know, it's this, call it an entity we named God doing that. There's no scientific explanation, and you have a miracle. Well, locks that can be turned by smart mechanisms and frozen and so on, by being heated up so that the parts in there expand and no longer will fit to turn and so on. These scientifically explainable things. This is not God, okay? So I've noticed that these folks often want to give the impression that God is doing this. Now, as I go along here, let me say that I saw a special on secret policing agencies in the United States, and I saw this on public television, and as part of the special, a whistleblower against these organizations was saying, these folks want their subjects, that means the people they're investigating, to feel like God is watching them. He said, their surveillance is so massive. That's the effect they want to give on the person that they're subjecting to surveillance. That it's God watching them, okay? And so I'm making all these connections. It would take me a book length explanation here to tie everything together. But it's clear to me that there's a religious element to this harassment that I've been enduring, and there's a religious element to the effect that people using this weapon want to have on the people they're using it against, as if God is doing it. And I think about that usher, and you know what I mean, and how this thing has been used on me for like 40 years, and the usher's bizarre behavior. And where is he? He's in the Knights of Columbus. So there's a religious association right there, connecting the use of this weapon with religious folks as well as the secret police. And what do you have? You have an intelligence community that would include possibly the Vatican, right? Wouldn't you? And, well, I could go on, but these folks, in their use of this weapon and the way they're using it, like, I saw it used on you, Bashuasi, while you were on camera. And this arrogant use of this thing is as if the people using it, once again, are God. That they could do this so openly. There's a righteousness that's part of the whole experience that also suggests people in religion are connected up to this. So let me go back and say that I was saying that it's clear that this weapon can be used to kill people. Well, I'm now reminded of the Scott Pele special on this whole Havana syndrome weapon, you might call it. And he was showing in one of his episodes that a Russian version of this weapon can apparently be used in such a way as to destroy the inner ear of somebody it's being directed at. So it's been used on secret police agents and their families, apparently by Russia. And when used this way, it's created severe damage to the inner ear of people it's been used on. And well, if folks can direct that thing in such a way as to be that precise in its focus and its use, they could also clearly kill somebody the way that usher seemed to be killed. So what am I saying? I'm saying that not only would the United States intelligence community have a weapon like this, well, Russia might have one, and other countries might have one, like maybe even China. I mean, the People's Republic of China? I wouldn't know. I would not know. But it seems clear that Russia has one, and I'm saying the United States has one. And I'm saying that the United States version is more like what you would call a group kind of ownership among what's called the intelligence community now. And that would include, I'm saying, religious people like the Vatican. I'm not accusing. I'm saying what's possible. I'm saying from what I've seen, I've got reason to believe that if it's not the Vatican involved, and it may not be, I'm saying it's religious folks. So I've said my profile of the criminal here has shown me that the criminal could be a Catholic priest operating that thing, because who would have the patience to be directing something like that is somebody like me, right? A complete nobody who doesn't do wrong at all. However, I'm a complete nobody who is a potential witness against the secret police in all of this and crimes committed by the secret police. And the person I've been calling America's Man of the Year. Well, that's why I'm of interest. That's why I've been going through a lifetime destroyed by these folks. Because I've always been a potential witness of this kind. And they've been trying to destroy me over time. They have been, to keep me from being a credible witness against them. Well, this is the best I can do at putting some of these sketchy observations of mine together, and at the present time, and well, that's all from me for now. Bye for now.